and sit here and hold it and it wouldn't go off. Okay, it's not within the actual fuel burning range at 9.6 to 2.15. Okay, so when you do your sniffer test, when you're doing your sniffer, it's looking for the lowest flammability limit. Okay, so that's the 2.15%. So as it gets to 0.5% of propane in the room, it's going to light up one time. Once it gets to 1%, it's going to light up 2 lights. So as you get closer to it, it's going to tell you it's more concentrated and you've got a problem. You know, it could explode or it could catch fire at that time. So that's how that works. So you got your fuel, okay? Now, the other thing that we have to have is oxygen. Okay, so we know the fuel range has to be between 2.15 to 9.6. Okay, so for your oxygen, you've got to have so much oxygen to keep the fire going. Okay, so propane, it's very easy. It's 24 parts air to 1 part propane, or 96% air to 4% propane. 4% gives you the perfect blue flame, no orange, no yellow, the perfect blue flame, maximum BTUs. It's at 4%. So your oxygen level, you're going to have 24 parts air to 1 part propane. Now, like I said before, if this is a closed room and open that 5-gallon bucket up, it's not going to be 24 to 1. It's going to be 12 to 12 or 20 to 10 or something like that, but it's not going to be within the range. So it's still not going to catch fire. The last thing is heat. Now, the ignition temperature of propane is 920 degrees. That's pretty high, but 920 degrees is not much when you have static electricity. If you're wearing any type of polyester shirt or anything else and you brush up or you've got static electricity in your hair, always make certain that you touch one of the pipes before you start pumping propane. Make certain that you grounded out any static electricity that you have, because you don't want static electricity to ignite the vapor when you're using the maximum liquid level gauge to fill the cylinder up. So be aware of that. Those are the 3 components that you're going to have. You have to have fuel, you have to have air, you have to have an ignition source. So that gives you a breakdown on each one. All right, next. And that really just...
So when you're doing, like, using the gun, is that the pipe that you're, you know, when you're screwing it on and off the cylinder, would that be enough to negate the static electricity?
No, because you're not going to have static electricity because we use brass. That's a non-sparking, okay? But if you had a stainless steel connection, there's a chance of having that because there's going to be that grounding from there. That's one of the reasons why the propane industry uses brass.
Gotcha.
You'd also be, it's like we had us put a rubber mat out there, you're wearing rubber gloves, that would also not let you discharge it.
Absolutely. Okay, so the next thing is fire classifications. Okay, so we talked earlier about, here are the rankings. Oops, too far. These are the rankings, A, B, C. That's mostly what you're going to see on most fire extinguishers. Okay, A is going to be common combustibles. That's going to be wood, paper, and cloth. That's something that's now included. Now, we have to keep combustibles 10 feet away from any propane source of ignition. Okay, that's dry grass, anything else. Used to be actually spelled out in 58. Now they just say combustibles. Okay, class B is going to be flammable liquids and gas. Propane falls under B, okay? And live electrical equipment, because we have electrical pumps out there, they have to be sealed, so they're spark proof. So previously we were B and C, but they don't make those fire extinguishers anymore. They are now A, B, and C, so they're multi-purpose. So that's the ratings that you get from a fire extinguisher. All right. Now, besides you, Fire Marshal Will, how many of you have actually used a fire extinguisher before? Okay.
This is a stepbrother.
Oh, really?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, but it counts
He's
for me.
volunteer.
He's a
firefighter.
volunteer firefighter.
Well, he wasn't volunteer, he's paid. wasn't he?
Okay, so
He's paid.
between you 3,
What they pay.
with one of these,
Volunteer position, yeah.
how long is this thing going to run?
About 10 seconds. With that.
10 seconds is going to be max. Most of the time it's going to be somewhere about 5 or 6 seconds. It's very, very short time. Okay, so some of the things that you got to take a look at is, number 1, your monthly inspection is this. You need to double check and make certain that your monthly inspection out there at the plant, you should see the range right here. Should be a little green section right there with your little yellow arrow. Okay, it always should that little, never mind, wait. Okay, that little yellow arrow should be in the green area at all times. Okay, if it exceeds that either way, this fire extinguisher has to be taken out of service. Okay, so this is part of your monthly inspection. You're going to check this to make certain. Number two, when you're doing your bulk plant inspection, and even for in here, your bulk plant inspection counts for these too. You should have a tag on here. If you don't have a tag, this fire extinguisher has to come out of service. Okay, and each month you have to initial that you have checked this, part of your monthly inspections, and it must be on the fire extinguisher at all times. Okay, so these are the two inspections that you're going to have. The third inspection is this sealed ring here should be collared. Okay, if this collar is not there any longer, this needs to be replaced also. So anytime any of these three exceed the specifications that you have, this fire extinguisher has to be taken out of service and be recharged. So any questions about that? All right, so here, so on this side, so here you can actually see the rankings. It's an A, B, and C fire extinguisher. This is a 20-pound cylinder, okay? So we exceed our 18 pounds. So everything looks good from there. This will also let you know as far as what can be used for, the placards accordingly. And when I start talking about banana stickers, when you put them on grill bottles, ours is just sort of like that, sort of smiley face. That's a banana sticker, that's what I'm talking about. So here you go. So there's your monthly inspection. Okay, so now you got fire. So what's the first thing you're going to do?
Get the fire extinguisher. Kill the
You're
source.
going to do your kill switch first.
Source.
Never fight a fire unless you turn off the supply of propane first. So when you turn that off, then you can go with your fire extinguisher if you want to be a hero. Okay? If you do, you're going to use PASS. Okay, what does PASS stand for?
Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
You're welcome.
So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to pull the trigger. Okay, so that releases your handle.
For class.
Okay. Now these are chemical fire extinguishers. These are not like the old CO2 fire extinguishers we used to have. The ones that everybody sees in the cartoons that has the big jets at the front. On the CO2 fire extinguishers, you used to have to turn them upside down to use them. Okay, and they were great for cooling off beer when you were somewhere. So can't do it with these. All right. So here you pull the pin. Okay. So that's P. A means what? Aim. Okay. So when you're aiming at it, okay, let's say this is my pan. Okay. You're seeing flames up to here. But where are you going to aim when you're shooting at the fire extinguisher?
Base of the fire.
You want to shoot at the base. And usually you're shooting at the ground most of the times. Okay? Remember that, because you don't want to shoot at what's looking at you in the face. You want to shoot underneath it because you're trying to blow the flames out. So when you do, pull the pin, you're going to aim, you're going to shoot it while you're down. And as you're doing it, remember, you've only got 6 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003. You should make at least 4 sweeps to adequately put that fire out. Okay? When you do have it out, don't go over there and mess with it until it's completely out for at least a good 5 minutes. Okay? Because you don't want to stir anything back up to get a spark going again. Let the chemicals do its reaction. Okay? Take the fire extinguisher out of service, get you another one, put it in, and have this serviced annually. So any questions about that? Learn anything from that one? Real mousy, yes, he did. Okay, so that's your fire extinguisher class. Now, for you two, if you haven't taken that, we're going to print this up, and it's going to be the same situation. You've seen this before, right? 5-question quiz, so I'm going to have you do these. I'm going to print this up right now and get those. You guys have already done that. Okay, so we'll have it in your employee file, and that'll take care of your fire extinguisher training for annual purpose. Now, you're going to have the same thing every year. But every third year, you need to actually have a fire pit or a fire pan out there to do it, and let somebody take a couple of fire extinguishers that's gonna be expired, and let you go out there and go, hey, so 1001, 1002, and you got a chance to actually fire a fire extinguisher and you know what's gonna happen. Alright, any questions from there?
Did I miss race? I wanted to really impress y'all with my knowledge.
That was excellent.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
In the head.
And clap for me.
I
Okay.
really like acronyms.
I was the safety director at my clinic.
She likes
So-
acronyms, she's a big fan.
Oh, that's the reason why, if you look on my desktop, I've got a folder that says alphabet soup, and then you open it up, and there's like 70 different acronyms in there that you have to be responsible for and know and everything else.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so it's what, 10 minutes after 4, something like that?
Yeah,
Hurry.
4:03.
Okay, so it's a good time to wrap
Well,
up
the
today.
time changed last week. Pick it up.
Thanks for